I ended up pulling down the other bill on critical race theory because there were so many lies being told. Many of which were that school superintendents were saying that critical race theory is not in our schools. We know that it is. We know that what they've done, as has already been pointed out, is that they changed the terminologies so that even a simple FOI finds it difficult sometimes tracking down what they're, so they'll use terms that we would think are inclusion, equity, even the term anti-racism is redefined. That anti-racism now means, according to Ibram Kendi, who wrote the book How to Be Anti-Racist, he says that the only way to cure past discrimination is with current discrimination. And the only way to heal then current discrimination is with future discrimination. So you see this just keeps stirring the pot of division. So my dad, I was just talking with Mr. Vines, and he was telling me he was Air Force veteran. My dad was in the Air Force for 26 years, and I remember he was a tail gunner during the Korean War. And one of the things he always said, and I remember this for a long time, he said, "Son, if you're taking on flak, it means you're over the target." And our education committee members got thousands of emails. And I kept telling them, if you will just do some research and find out who those emails are coming from, you wouldn't even give them the time of day. It's coming from Antifa. It's coming from Black Lives Matter. It's coming from superintendents who are not telling you the truth in saying that critical race theory is not in the schools. This is the first time in my 5 terms in the legislature where I've ever received on an issue a death threat. I had a lady send me, and it was from a fake Facebook account, but she said, "You should commit suicide. And if you won't do that, I will come in the middle of the night and slit your throat." Don't tell me that this is not serious stuff. Because they know what they're doing. They're wanting to sow the seeds of discord. They want to create division. You can use theories like whether it is critical theory or critical race theory, and you can use those theories to maybe adopt public policy to try and overcome some of the vestiges of racism. We know that there's been historical racism. So for instance, in education policy, we know that there are disparities in economic equity throughout the state of Arkansas. Some of that was brought about just because of whatever the economy was in that part of the state, but sometimes that was based on racism. So what have we done to make sure that every student, no matter what their zip code is, that they have an equal opportunity? We have used what has been called poverty funding or NSLA money or ESSA funding to make sure that students in districts that have a low tax base and a low millage are still able to be educated in an equitable fashion. That's one thing, to establish public policy based on a theory. But to be disparaging young people, sometimes as early as, I don't know what your research has shown the FOIs, but as early as 3rd grade, 4th grade students. It starts in kindergarten. Okay. I knew that was the case, but I wasn't going to say it because I hadn't seen the documents. But telling a student because of their skin color that they are an oppressor or that they are privileged, and pointing to a black student and because of their skin color saying that you are a victim. What we should be talking about, and this was the message that I kept trying to present, we should be talking about the worth and the value of the individual. No matter their skin color, no matter the zip code that they live in, no matter whether they have 2 parents in the household or whether their parents are divorced, that they have the ability to overcome anything. So the Marxist tendencies, or the genesis of this was critical theory. And it did take root in a number of nations around the world where you were pitting economic status, the proletariats against the bourgeoisie. it wasn't able to be effective in the United States as a divisive tool because every person is capable of being able to rise from whatever economic status that their parents or their grandparents or their great-grandparents may have been in. So as Iverson Jackson, has been going around the state talking about critical race theory, as he has said, the Marxists then recognize that if they're going to use their theory to create division, they have to instead divide on something that is immutable, something that cannot be changed, which is the color of your skin. And so that's where critical race theory came about. It creates this division that then divides students by the skin color. It doesn't allow them to be able to overcome or to even recognize. I mean, all you have to do is watch two kindergarten students or first grade students, and you'll see they don't see each other as being black or white. They just see their friend Bob or Bill or their friend Jamal. It's like, hey, I missed you over the weekend. I didn't see you. And they run towards each other. But what is being done with critical race theory is this attempt to create the division. Well, we ended up not getting any bills passed. I did, late in the session, file a bill where I went to a Democrat member, a member of the Black Caucus, and I said, Representative Murdoch, surely on this issue there are some things we could agree on. Okay? Surely we can agree that we should not be teaching in our schools that one race is superior to another. Can we start with that? He goes, yeah, I agree with that. We should also not be teaching that a child should feel inferior because of their race or their ethnicity. Yeah, I agree with that. I said, okay, I've got a 4-page bill. Take a look at it and cut out of it what you can't live with. But let's use this as a guardrail for moving forward. Well, it came